Yachty, I'm giving this young man, another chance. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna take it all in. I'm gonna see what he's got to deliver, what he's got to offer. This album's called Nothing to Prove, which scares me a little bit because it made me feel like on his last albums, he's implying that he actually did have something to prove. But if that's how you felt, you still didn't prove shit. It's a complicated story, I know. We're here to listen to Nothing to Prove. I just feel really discombobulated. This thing's choking me. I did it for a joke, but it's really uncomfortable now, and I don't really know how to get it off, and I'm kind of scared. Drink more water. Don't forget. Daily lesson. If you go away with anything from this video, make sure you drink more water. Lil Yachty. I've learned to just accept this young man for who he is, not for who I want him to be or who anyone else wants him to be. He's just a kid doing his thing, having his fun, which is great, but I'm not excusing trash music. If it's trash, I'ma say it, and if it's great, I'ma say it. There's no biases here. I hope it's great. I want to love a Lil Yachty project. I want to be able to say, hey fam, what's that you playing? And they say Lil Yachty, and I not turn my head away in shame and disgust. You gotta admit, this kid's cover art is crazy. Like, the lighting is beautiful. As a photography nerd, this thing looks amazing. First track of this 15-track album, and it's not that long, so we shouldn't be here too long, says, "Give me my respect." I'm assuming he's talking to people that's been talking a certain way on his name. Put some respect on it. That's all he's saying. I'm not even connected. I'm so unprepared. Wow. It's fucking stupid because the thing should automatically connect. Like, that's, what am I paying for?
These old niggas get washed. They could buy every new watch. They still wouldn't buy more time. I picked the drip, you get slime. You know what the fuck going on, nigga.
That bass line's pretty hard.
Started this motherfucking new wave shit, man. Come on, man. Give my respect, bitch.
It wasn't you, Yachty. Stop it.
My dollar ain't taking care of none of these dry head bitches, kids, nigga.
Hey, that's good. You know? While it was only like 1 minute and 45 seconds, I like his mentality, you know, don't waste any of this opportunity. You're young, you got money, don't fuck it up, don't get somebody pregnant. It's temptation out there. I can only imagine how it is for Yachty. Cause it's like, I face temptation and I'm not even rich or famous. I know Yachty's going through it. I don't even want to imagine the fucking... And then you have people looking down on these kids when they do some stupid shit. Like, you're putting so much power in a young man's hand, expecting him not to fuck up, and then chastising him for it when he does. But I get you, Yachty. Just don't mess up. You're doing good. Bassline on that track was cool. Flows were cool. Track itself, man. Track number 2, Get Dripped feat. Oh, shit. I wish this was vodka. Y'all saw me trying just now. You saw me trying. Don't act like I'm just hating. This nigga's trash. Can we just agree that Playboi Carti sounds like a fucking sound effect and not a rapper?
Beat up that pussy, I'm Tyson. Oops, niggas is rappers.
What the fuck? Shut the fuck up. I know I clown Playboi Carti for sounding like a sound effect, but on this track, it does work. I'm not gonna hate on him too hard. It works only in the sense that it goes along with this video game. He sounds like he's a part of the video game while he's rapping. So for this track, whatever, okay? Playboi Carti worked on the track. Do I like it? Fuck no. But he worked, okay? It's just not my thing. Lil Yachty, he did mention on Twitter that this was going to be like half rapping and half melody. Why split trash up? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Track number 3, Riley from the Boondocks. Because we didn't know who Riley was.
All they rock is trash suits, Nike show.
This would be so much better if I had a double cup.
Baby just want a degree. I'm gonna pay all of the fees. Yup. So they need more like you. Really need less like me.
You just said you weren't taking care of these dry hair bitches though. This flow is nice here though. He's running it. And the bass line's hot. Alright. No, but keep going. Track is cool. You know, I guess the thing about it that would bring me back to, if anything, is the way Yachty controls the pace of it. The bass line is already really hard and consistent. So I think Yachty just rides the beat on this track really well. And if anything, that's what's going to draw me back to it lyrically. Next track, I'm the Mack.
Tryna overlook me, say what you want, just don't push me. I'm the Mack, mine is set back for major comebacks. I'm the Mack.
Okay, hold up, it's happening.
I'm the Mack, mine is set back for major comebacks. I'm the Mack.
It's so simple, but it works.
Be from the back while she drip. Hey,
you didn't need to double up on that.
Tom, some oil, no 10, man. Can't ride in your whip, ain't no tent, man.
So based off the first couple tracks that I'm hearing so far, it's really sticking to the theme of not having anything to prove, and Yachty kind of saying that what I got speaks for itself. I don't have to really do or say much. You know, I walk in, I drip, I walk in on the Mack, I do this, I do that. You already know what it is. I don't have to do anything, basically, is what he's trying to say here. I guess the simplicity of this track is really getting me more than anything. There's not that much going on, but it's also not, you know, angering me or anything to the point where I want to turn it off. It's simple. The beat's a little bit rhythmic. It's a little addicting in my opinion. I actually like how he's riding the beat. I just think he could fill up some of these spaces in the track a little bit more. That emptiness, like I said, you don't just leave certain parts of the song empty. You could do so much more with it, to me. It doesn't have to be filled with like this concept or anything. Just fill it up, you know? Just put some more stuff in there, add a little bit more, and you could have like a complete song. He could have actually extended this track a little bit, and I would have been fine with it. But yeah, let's move on. Track number 5, Yacht Club featuring Juice WRLD. For all the people that think I haven't heard Juice WRLD, I fucking have.
Gang coming strong, yeah, we rolling out.
He sounds like Post Malone. Let's not lie to ourselves.
Needs for confession.
So the vid to a nigga had to teach a lesson.
Me and Bo.
Blessed boys under 21 steady flexing. I'm getting to risk, can't do flights with connection.
Fuck, they're just trading back and forth.
But I ain't on no Drake shit, I won't get her pregnant.
Damn young Juice WRLD, boy. I think I nutted in her, I might need a playpen.
You just said you didn't do
40 in my pants, that bitch thought it was a boner. If I go broke, I'ma jug off my back.
No. What type of stupid bitches you fucking with if they can't tell the difference between a boner and a 40? If you ever mistook my piece for my dick, get out. Honestly, I think that was probably the best track on here. I love the melody and Juice WRLD's voice. Again, I do think he sounds like Post Malone on this track, but I do think the aesthetic, the melody in his voice really works for the track. I love them trading back and forth on this track. His line about Drake was harsh, but also hilarious at the same time. And I think the more I get through this album, the more and more I think these artists who are younger don't get as much credit for not making the same mistakes that artists 10 years their senior are making and still trying to cover up and hide. And I don't really think they get credit for that. So I think in a way that's kind of what I won't say they're asking for, but kind of what they would like people to acknowledge at the same time. Like, maybe we're not the best rappers in the world, but we're not doing this, we're not doing that, and you're championing these people who are doing this and are doing that. So I get what they're trying to say. It's understandable. Next track, SaintLaurentYSL. Please, this don't tell me it's featuring Lil Baby. I'm not hating on Lil Baby, but like, I just don't see it, man. I really don't. Nevermind, I like the melody. See, they always get me with the melody. You're not about to have me in here bumping a whole Yachty out.
See the haters throwing shots, but they just talking still. I've been torn. I think I'm gonna call me a phone. I want a wife.
Was the age of 12, since a young
under Drake goes.
Yo, my G, did you really need 2 verses? Delivery is just like so groggy and like wham. And I get it, he's a baby. At least it just doesn't work for me. It don't work for me. Bars are just so ABC. Like, she horny, I whip my dick out. The trash smells, I'ma take it out. The car is low on gas, I'ma fill it up. The lights off, I'ma turn it on. Like, what the fuck? Track number 7, We Outta Here featuring Thugger. Yay. Oh, wait, never mind. That says Young Nudy. Fuck.
Yeah. Cutting off my old boyfriend of Maggie. Probably is a and his outfit tragic. But we're first off the dog.
What is that, man?
Big dog, young nigga, paradise.
This shit is really choking me. And It's just like it's only so long you can rely on this heavy bass line before I'm just like bring a little bit more to the table, you know? I like what he's saying here and like what he's doing as far as like the theme that he's created around this album about kind of being that dude, but I don't know. I'm just having a really hard time taking it seriously. And this track, it was awkward for me to listen to, especially when he blurs out the word faggot. Like, why are you saying it in the song when like that wasn't even a clever usage of it. Like you rhymed maggot in like what? Like that's not even, it's not witty. It's not, oh my God, I can't believe he said that in that way. It's just there. Track number 8, Who Wants Smoke, featuring Cardi B and Offset.
Who want the smoke? Who
No one. Fuck. Start the verse. Cardi B, this is not Bodak Yellow. Alright? That was a year ago. The beat is great though. The beat is fire. You know, I don't mind their verses, Cardi B and Offset. You know, for the most part, they generally sound okay. But I feel like the way there's still a difference in the energy that I get from Yachty and the energy I get from Cardi B and an Offset. And the reason there's a difference is because they're separate people. And I feel like Yachty isn't utilizing them in interesting ways for his album. Like, the thing that makes Yachty separate from the Migos or a Cardi B is that he doesn't need to deliver that harsh, I guess, energy to his own tracks. And I feel like, you know, utilizing Offset in a way, or Cardi B in a more creative fashion than ways that they've utilized themselves on their own projects could have been more beneficial for this track. But I don't feel like he does that. He's just, hey, give me a verse, and that's it. When I don't feel that kind of energy from Yachty, the way I get it from Cardi B and Offset. So I guess that was really my biggest issue with that track. But the beat bangs, so whatever. Track number 9, Worth It.
late night on the net, she be surfing. Looking for a surgery to purchase. I won't understand, cause I am a man. Babe, I don't give a fuck if your titties don't stand. I won't give a fuck if...
I get it. She's still worth it regardless of any imperfections or insecurities. And this is energy that I feel I would get from Yachty. But damn, this song is trash. Track number 10, Everything Good, Everything Right.
Everything good. Everything good. Everything right.
Yeah, I get it. Track number 11, Next Up.
Me bring the text up. I'm already on, still claiming next up. Young moon get sunny. Both gon' fuck cause I both got money. Can't nobody ever fuck my bad little bitch. Wanna fuck on my wrist. Just so what some moist. Give a little lick, let it drip with the mist.
I like the way he plays with the lines about the ice on his wrist, basically saying that she don't really want to fuck him. She wants what he has. The material, his possessions is what gets her off. It's what makes her see him in a desirable image, and he's aware of that, so he's not oblivious. He's kind of saying that, so I like what he's doing there. Not a bad song. Would I return to it? Not likely. Next track, Forever World featuring Trippie.
Love me forever, girl. I'm
All you dudes with crazy voices and using your voices in these weird ass ways, just make an R&B album, because the way that started off, I already know. Or I don't know. But Yachty, please don't fuck this song up.
Baby, know I'm slime, real slime like a boa. Baby, you a dime. I put diamonds from your neck to your toe up.
Yeah, I like that track. Yachty didn't ruin it, you know. I think he did as much as he could to keep his voice controlled so that it wouldn't go and make the song so childish, I guess you could say, because the idea behind it is kind of again, it could easily be a reference to the title of the album, which is like Nothing to Prove. You know, I got nothing to prove, letting people know that there's a woman that I'm willing to appreciate and care for and spend my time and money for. Although some of the album, he is at the same time trying to say that these are some women that he refuses to take care of. But I like the track regardless. I don't know what sample that is playing or kind of repeating itself. Trippie Redd's feature was cool. I like it. Track number 13, Nola, featuring Kevin Gates.
Gotta get here like a kangaroo. Gotta keep it still like the Django. I don't go for what you say about me. I'm ran out of breath, walking the farm and busting the
Track number 14, Fallin in Love, featuring Gunna.
So me, them little blue jeans. Girl, I done seen all the good.
And you let her drink in. Would you come with a friend? Me and Yachty again. Overseas spending years.
So this track, it seems like Yachty's falling in love with the lifestyle. He's falling in love with his position, not just with this chick, but just with the world that he's been introduced to. It seems like he's fallen for that idea as well. I don't mind Gunna. It's just like it just sounds like he's half asleep. Is that his appeal? Let me know. Track number 15 and the final track, Stoney.
Stoney, I take it as a city moon. I could tell you on my home. I could tell you wanna go.
That was Lil Yachty. Nothing to prove. Now, I'm not really disappointed with this album. Because, you know, me knowing the type of artist that Yachty is and the type of music that he's created within the past, 2 years or so, I kind of know what to expect from the guy. And this isn't anything beyond what I thought he was capable of. The production is just as good as it was on his previous projects. Taking advantage of the resources within his label, I think it sounds great. The bass line on some of these tracks are beautiful. I do like the idea behind this album. If I'm assuming that there's an idea behind this album, to say that Yachty doesn't really have anything left to prove and that he's looking for self-sufficiency. He's trying to find, happiness within himself, not necessarily trying to please others. Because I do agree that for the better portion of the beginning of his career, he spent a lot of time trying to woo other people and trying to make other people like him and trying to make other people understand him. And I think he's to the point now where it's like, I'm done with that. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to be who I want to be. I'm going to be with who I want to be with. And I think he does that in a way that comes off a little adorable. Also, though, it comes off a little old and kind of cringy at the same time, because while on one hand I appreciate that Yachty is in the position where he doesn't have to cater to any other audience than the one that he's cultivated, I'm also cringing at the idea that he's running to his fan base in a way at the second portion of this album, kind of saying, hey guys, I like a girl, I found her. Again, nothing wrong with finding that person and being wooed and reeled in by that individual, but I just think it takes up a good portion of this album, so much so to the point where I feel like nothing else is really going on in Yachty's life other than what's being talked about in this album, which is fine, because I'm sure you can do a lot with those resources that he's got. He can have a lot of experiences with that, but to me, someone who's been there, done that, not financially, but it comes off just a little bit like, okay, like cool, but you got to make a song about it. There are better portions of this album, though. I don't want to discredit it because there is a theme in the second half that discusses love more than the first half. The first half, I feel like Yachty is talking to the industry. He's talking to his critics. He's talking to essentially people like me to a degree that would love for him to be this other person aside from who he has shown himself to be in the past 2 years. And on the other hand, he's got the second portion of the album that, discusses this kind of internal struggle within himself to kind of say, I don't have anything to prove to people personally. I don't have anything to prove to people about who I am. And I shouldn't have anything to prove about people when it comes to how I display my love and my affection. Because again, young males, again, I'm taking the threads. I'm peering into this thing because I think it does mean what I feel it means. But At the same time, there are a good amount of tracks on here. I do like, you know, some of the melodies. I do like some of what Yachty is discussing. I think his voice is more tolerable on this album, partially because it's not really, there are parts that are dedicated more so to each specific side of the album. And it's kind of like artists are trying to do that thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and put this amount of tracks on this side and this amount of tracks on this side, because people on one hand say they like me for this reason and the other say they like me for this reason. As far as how he utilizes his features, I think that he uses them in pretty generic ways, not in ways that could really act as a compliment to Yachty and a compliment to who he is, because he has artists here that don't really compliment the idea I feel that he's going for in the beginning, which is why I felt the verses from Offset and Cardi B were so generic and so pretty much, you know, rinse and repeat. You know, the one from Juice WRLD really felt like it complimented Yachty because they were in a similar position of being young in the industry, having a lot of fun, but not being appreciated for not fucking up like their seniors in the industry. And I felt like they really could have pushed forward that idea even if they were given more time on that track or had an extra track on this album. The one with Trippie Redd, another artist who's explored his emotions a little bit more recently. The idea between the two of them made more sense. It complemented the idea and the aesthetic that Yachty was going for. But Cardi B and Offset didn't really do that. Lil Baby didn't really do that. Gunna didn't really do that. Kevin Gates didn't really do that. I forgot his name. The other guy didn't really do that. They just didn't compliment who I feel Yachty's presented himself to be over time, you know. And for him to say that I have nothing to prove, it's just, it would really help if you had artists who also weren't rapping in ways that it seemed like they also had something to prove. Like some of the features felt like they were trying to prove something. There is this intoxication also in the second half of the album that Yachty kind of goes through when he talks about being in love with the industry, or not really the industry, but in being in love with his position, being accustomed to his lifestyle now, kind of normalizing himself within it. And I think that intoxication with his lifestyle has given him a little bit more confidence, so much so that he's able to make an album like this where he doesn't have to come up with all these scattered ideas to please so many different audiences. It actually makes the project itself more cohesive, even though there's more singing on one portion and more rapping on another. While I do think that Yachty shouldn't have to prove anything, I don't think that he should get away with just having some of these empty songs that literally just he could fill up with some more material or just better rapping. You know, I don't need you to be a KRS-One for you to give me a song that's filled with content. Even if that content is filler, add more to it. You know, some of the tracks seem pretty bare. Some of them seem pretty, the landscape for some of the tracks seem way too big for the amount that Yachty actually brings to the table, which is why I feel so many features plague this album. But, you know, I could go on and on with that. I do still think Yachty does a somewhat decent job with this project. While I didn't love a lot of it, I do still think some of it works for his aesthetic and what he's got going. And for that, Lil Yachty, whatever the name of this album is, fuck. That's how I'm feeling on it. Thank you all for watching. I'll see y'all next time. And yeah, I'm out. Lil Boat. Delete my unsubscribe. I'm sorry.